Despite early projections saying that Pascal Siakam will return from injury in late December, he is way ahead of schedule and is already playing for the Raptors. So in today's video, we look at what this means for the team and what effect Pascal Siakam is really going to have on the Raptors this season. Let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? This is Amateur Hour Sports, your source for everything Raptors. We do Raptors news, game recaps, mock trade breakdowns, and so much more. So if you like the Toronto Raptors and you enjoy content in this video style, make sure you're subscribed to Amateur Hour Sports on our road to 8,000 subscribers. And in return, you get 4+ videos a week, all concerning the Toronto Raptors. But today we are talking about Pascal Siakam and what his impact on the team is going to look like this season, and try to break down how he is going to perform this season, because he's already back from injury. The early projection in the offseason was that he was going to be back sometime in late November, and then it was revealed that he was actually ahead of schedule, and it looked like he was going to be back in mid-November, but he's even more ahead of schedule. In fact, played against the Brooklyn Nets Sunday afternoon and put on a pretty good performance. I was happy with Pascal Siakam in his limit restriction with 15 points and 4 rebounds. He looked solid. He looked like himself. You know, he hit a 3. He was getting to the rim very well. Sometimes he got those unlucky bounces out, but overall, I felt like a good performance from Pascal Siakam. So over the course of this video, we're going to break down his impact offensively. Then we're going to break down his impact defensively, what his stats are going to look like this season, with some references to what we saw in the game against the Brooklyn Nets on Sunday. So starting with the offensive side of the game, Pascal Siakam is going to really change the dynamic of this Toronto Raptors offense. The one biggest issue I have with it is that sometimes we can struggle in the half court. Really like us in transition, but the half court game can struggle. And a good example of that was on Sunday against the Brooklyn Nets. The Raptors, even though they look good throughout much of the game, the three-pointers were not falling. And as a result of the three-pointers not falling, the Brooklyn Nets closed inside the paint. They kind of backed down on defense, which allowed the Raptors to have some open shots from 3, but it limited what they could generate on the interior. And when the three-point shots aren't falling and the other team is clogging up the interior, that leads to a little bit of a stagnant offense. And that's what we saw in the second half, as the Nets kind of ran away with this game in the end. So this is just one example, but it kind of has happened in other games throughout the season. Mostly in the first 3 games of the season, where we weren't shooting well, the other team collapsed in the paint, and we weren't really able to generate much on the interior. So we have to have a pretty balanced offense in order to be successful. But in situations where we can't have that balanced offense, Pascal Siakam's interior game is really going to help shape this half-court offense. We don't really have as many bucket getters as some other teams in terms of stick the ball in a guy's hands. He's going to get you to bucket to get out of a rut. Pascal Siakam can be that guy on many occasions, because the reality is his interior game is phenomenal. It's so good that even though his three-point percentage regressed much last season, in terms of in 2019-2020, he shot 35% from 3. Last season, in the Tampa season, he shot 30% from 3. But despite that big regression from three-point land, and he was taking a lot of threes at that, his field goal percentage stayed right about the same at about 45%. So what does that show us? Because his three-point percentage dropped, but his field goal percentage stayed the same. It shows us that his interior game improved immensely last season. He was a lot more efficient and a lot more effective on the interior last season. The reason for that is the spin move has always worked, and it's always worked for Pascal Siakam, and it is going to continue to work for Pascal Siakam. You don't think the spin move works? Obviously, there's a lot of jokes about it, but if you don't think it works, I mean, watch Pascal Siakam just spin off Joel Embiid, watch him spin off Draymond Green in some high-stakes situations in the playoffs. Those are 2 of the best defenders in the league that Pascal Siakam just spins by. See you later. But the spin move is now accompanied by lots of other facets of his game. Siakam kind of realized halfway through last season that he's just not a guy that gets the foul calls that other players get. He's not going to be a guy averaging like 10 free throws a game like, Jason Tatum or like a Trae Young. Modern NBA 2021 right now, not getting as many fouls, but even so, Siakam never got them to begin with. So he had to add in other parts of his game. So he tried to get a little bit of a mid-range game. He tried to get a little bit of a floater game. And these things that he adds to his game, that he adds to his bag, drag allows him to thrive a lot more on the interior. So when the Raptors get stagnant in the half-court offense, he is going to be able to unlock a lot of extra points for this Toronto Raptors team. That mixed with the fact that I think this season from three-point land, the Raptors are taking a lot less this season than they did last season. And I think that's going to reign true for Siakam as well. I'd like to see him play a little bit more off ball on the perimeter in the sense of I want to see some more catch and shoot threes rather than pull up off the dribble threes, because I just think that fits Pascal Siakam's game a lot more, and it allows him to play in rhythm a lot more. And even though he helps a lot in the half-court offense, in transition is where Pascal Siakam thrives the most. The Raptors are creating this positionless game where they push the ball fast in transition and they push the pace of the game. They use their defense as their best form of offense on occasion, generating turnovers, generating steals that turn into offensive fast breaks. And Pascal Siakam is the physical embodiment of the two-way athletic game the Toronto Raptors want to play. He's going to be sensational in that transition game for this specific Toronto Raptors teams, with so many great passes of the ball to enable him to push and move in transition. Van Vliet, Scotty Barnes, Delano Banton have showcased great signs of playmaking in those full court offensive situations. But the half court situation, the Raptors have somewhat struggled in. Siakam was going to help out a lot in that endeavor. Last season was considered a little bit of a regression for Pascal Siakam, which doesn't really make a lot of sense because Siakam put up over 21 points per game, over 7 rebounds per game, and over 4 assists per game. Those statistics put him into an absolute elite category amongst some of the NBA superstars and Julius Randle. But for many people to consider that a regression of a season, well, what does a good season look like for Pascal Siakam then? I think he's going to have one this season. I think he had one last season. If he gets that three-point percentage back up, then he is going to be sensational. Might have an outside chance of getting himself into an all-star team if he was healthy for the season, but that remains to be seen. Let's switch over to the defensive side of Pascal Siakam's game. This is a very underrated part of his game. People understand that Pascal Siakam, his length and his athleticism allow him to be a great defender, and that's true, but he is a very good defender. But the Raptors, through no fault of our own, are always singing the praises for OG Anunoby for the right reasons. But if we didn't have OG Anunoby on this team, we would be gushing over Pascal Siakam's defense. It goes a little bit under the radar because there is an even better defender on this team in OG Anunoby. So we have two and many more fantastic defenders on this team. Siakam's length, again, and the athleticism and the basketball IQ and smarts on defense allow him to be a great defender. He also is, you should focus on it next game, he actually also is one of the best help defenders in the NBA. His length, again, is what is the key to his defensive abilities, but he also has the smarts, and with the rotations, it is the positioning that he has. Against Brooklyn on Sunday, I really felt for the first time this season, our rotations were very, very off and very, very slow. I want to chalk that up to Pascal Siakam. It's just his first game. Maybe the team doesn't quite have the chemistry with him on the court just yet, but that is going to come over the course of the season. I don't want to worry about that too much, but leaving shooters like Patty Mills open on 2 straight possessions, that did really annoy me in the game. However, I think that is going to fix itself because Siakam, again, is a good defender, and he's a very smart defender in rotations. He knows the Raptors system. He's been here for so long, and he's also one of the leaders of his team now. He's showcasing that he is a leader. He said himself he's going a little bit out of his comfort zone to be that leader because all of a sudden, he's one of the oldest guys on the team, and he is the best player on this team after all. Going out of his way to message the young players, get them used to the team, and also on the bench. I mean, we talked about Scotty Barnes' intangibles. How about Pascal Siakam, the loudest player on the bench for every single Raptors game that he was injured? Always up, always encouraging his guys, always clapping them on. And even on the court on Sunday, he looks like he's in a great mental place right now, even though we were losing. And, when we weren't losing, he was smiling a lot, and he just felt like he was comfortable and he was happy with the way he was playing, just happy to be back on the court. Mentally, I don't think he was quite right last season. This season, I think it's much better. And the mental aspect is arguably the most important part of an athlete's game. Having the confidence to be able to go out and make the plays, having the confidence in yourself to make those plays, I think is like the most important part about playing sports. So Siakam has that back to a high degree this season. Well, I think that the rest of the NBA is going to have to watch out. So what is a Pascal Siakam season going to look like this year? I think that he's in for a great year. I think last season was pretty good. 21, 7, 4 over those numbers. That's pretty damn good. And I think that he's only going going to get better this season. I think he might get back up to 22 points per game. I think he's going to explode in some games. He's much more comfortable shooting the three ball when he's in the home arena, as we saw last season, because his Tampa numbers were better than the away numbers, despite it only being Tampa. I think they're going to get even better this season. I think he's going to be a lot smarter with the shot selection, a lot smarter with the shot IQ, not take as many of those ill-advised three-pointers, get himself on the interior more option. I know he's been working on a lot of different aspects of his game. That all mixed with the mental component, I'm feeling like Siakam this season, the way the Raptors move the ball, which is a lot better than last season, I think we're looking at a career high in assists. I think he's going to get up to near 5 assists per game. I'm feeling about 7.8 rebounds per game and over 22 points per game. I think that will coincide with great field goal percentages, as his three-point percentage, I believe, rises up to about 33%. About 47% shooting from the field is what Pascal Siakam is in for this season. Outside chance of definitely being an all-star if the Raptors maintain a good record, 6-5 right now, going up against the Celtics and Sixers this week. I'm looking forward to these games. Let's see what Pascal Siakam looks like when he's fully healthy, because he looked pretty good, even not 100% against the Brooklyn Nets. Let's get it. I'm excited for the season, even more excited now that this already talented team has their best player returning to play. In the comments for this video, guys, please predict Pascal Siakam's stat line, points, assists, rebound, and field goal percentages. What do you think is going to be this season? I want to hear all the thoughts, but that is it for me for today. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Please give it a like if you did enjoy. It goes a long way to supporting the channel, and subscribe for 4+ Raptors videos every single week and help us get to 8,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for helping us get to 500 followers on Twitch. If you want to watch along any of the Raptors games, please check out the Twitch channel with the link in the description. We always have a great time as I break down the game and give you the live play-by-play coverage while also interacting a lot with chat. Check out other YouTube channels that I have, and always remember, I'll see you again next time for another video.